Un adolescent américain de 64 ans, récompensé par une palme d'or, s'expose actuellement à la Cinémathèque française et rentre dans l'histoire. Gus Van Sant, cinéaste aux multiples visages, qui pratique la peinture et la musique, comme son aîné David Lynch, nous ouvre un peu de son atelier d'artiste. L'occasion était trop belle de rencontrer celui qui, en 16 longs métrages, n'a cessé d'inventer des films avec des dispositifs visuels forts. Un cinéaste anticonformiste, audacieux et terriblement timide. Bonjour Gus Van Sant.
Bonjour.
La Cinémathèque française vous consacre une exposition dans laquelle nous sommes et une rétrospective de l'intégralité de vos films. Dans cette expo, on découvre deux éléments fondamentaux de vos mises en scène, en tous les cas qui éclairent votre travail de metteur en scène. C'est d'abord le storyboard de Malanoche, votre premier film en 1986. Pourquoi ne plus avoir utilisé de storyboard et est-ce que vous considérez que c'est un outil qui peut aider la mise en scène?
Yeah, the storyboard which I was using on Malanoche, I was saving money to shoot the film, so I had a lot of time to draw a storyboard, which, you know, takes a bit of doing, like for a whole film. But I storyboarded the whole film. It's like 4 volumes of drawings. And I followed the storyboard. Like whenever I was shooting, I was following the storyboard and Xing out the shots that I was trying to get and made. So I just thought that was the way that a person would make a film until the next film, which is Drugstore Cowboy. So I realized I was never going to actually achieve the storyboard and keep within the budget. So I just changed my method. I started to block the scene first and try to like shoot according to like the blocking, as opposed to in Malanoche the storyboard like dictated the blocking. There are 2 different ways to work. I like both ways. Sometimes I draw storyboards for more difficult scenes that other departments need to know about because they're building things, or there's a lot of extras involved. I like to pre-plan the shots. You're sort of pre-making the film. It's Hitchcock's way, and I did like doing it.
L'autre élément important qu'on découvre, ça concerne votre prochain film, celui qu'on va découvrir en France le 27 avril, Nos souvenirs, et ce sont les plans de tournage. Et d'un seul coup, ces plans montrent les mouvements de caméra que vous avez choisis de façon aléatoire, selon le principe du jeter de dés. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous expliquer un peu mieux? Et est-ce que la mise en scène, c'est ça, un jeu de hasard?
Hello? Is anybody there? Hello? Hello?
There is no one. And what was that? Tamashi. What's Tamashi? Tamashi are spirits.
Well, you can make it. I mean, I was making it a game of chance for this. I was trying to follow. We were trying to like kind of instill a philosophy when we were beginning Sea of Trees, and part of the philosophy started to become influenced by Brian Eno. I had a book called Visual Music that he made, and a lot of his systems had been just that. They would be systems. A lot of his creations, musical creations, had started with a system, quote-unquote system. The systems often had something to do with like an order, like, and some of them included graph paper, like the graph paper in the book. And if you apply chance to camera angles, and you have the location, and you have the action of the character, you can plot where the camera is by rolling dice, because you have like a graph, and it can tell you where the camera is. So if it's you and I, instead of the camera being over your shoulder, it can be anywhere in the room, you know, it can be over there, it can be there. So you can throw dice and figure out where. All the camera angles are pretty useful. In the case of those, the camera angles were also traveling, so it would go from, you know, A to B. So sometimes it would go through the characters. And we had we had a camera sort of like this one where it's moving around. It was a movie, so you could walk the camera wherever you wanted, and sometimes it was on a rope, so you could like fly the camera. So we would, every morning I would sit down when we were shooting in the woods at least, I would sit down and draw a little watercolor of the location with trees and rocks. And I would decide where the camera began and ended arbitrarily as at least one of the shots, and then we would add shots to it, but one of the shots was usually from the dice.
Cut. Cut. Do you like that?
Well,
Do you want to try one more? That was perfect.
Vous ne vous êtes jamais caché que vous avez volé des plans à Hitchcock, à Bellatar, à Chantal Akerman. Est-ce que c'est en copiant qu'on invente sa mise en scène, Gus Van Sant?
In Last Days, we were copying, I think, a cinematic style that we perceived in Chantal Akerman's Jean Dielman, which was when the character is in a particular room, the camera is always in one part of the room, looking in a certain direction. And when they walk to the next room, the camera is always in that same position. So it's almost like surveillance. I don't think it ended up making the film look like Jean Dielman. There was a certain like personal quality that, or alone quality that the lead character has in Jean Dielman that did apply to our character. He was alone in a house. She was alone in her house. So maybe that was one of the sort of signals that this quality of them being alone that sort of attracted us to like the style of shooting.
Dernière question, Gus Van Sant, c'est un rituel, je la pose à tous les metteurs en scène que je rencontre. Pourquoi filmez-vous?
I think I was originally making paintings, and I think I got interested in cinema in the same period of time that I was like learning painting. There was another teacher. There was my art teacher, but there was an English teacher who was showing us Citizen Kane, and he was showing us some short films from the Canadian Film Board that were for students, but they were quite experimental. And I think it seemed like an extension of cinema, or at least of art extended into cinema. So my original reason why was it was an extension of my visual art. Why I was making visual art was maybe decorative, like something to put on the wall, or something provocative to show people or to look at yourself. So both decorative and provocative.